So here we are at the Bovie greenhouse, second week in May. We're approximately 3 weeks away from planting out in the trial gardens. Some of the plants are ready to go out right now. Some can use another 3 weeks before they're up to size. In the greenhouse phase of production for the trial garden, we're trialing plants to see how well they perform in the greenhouse as well before we get them out into the field. I am taking notes on how well seed germinates, how well cuttings root and perform in the greenhouse, how fast they grow, how fast they are to bloom, how fast they are to fill out a pot. For example, we have some lantana growing here. And this isn't quite at a marketable stage. Ideally, you'd like to have no visible soil from above, and obviously you'd want this plant blooming before you would sell at a garden center. Some of these plants are a little bit more vigorous though. You know, the leaves are bigger, they're actually bumping into their neighbors. We're going to want to space them out soon. We want a plant that is actually bushier than this. This is an example of a plant growing towards the light, and because there is no room for it to expand here, it is stretching a bit. So ideally we want to space it out so that these lower leaves and lower nodes on the plant are going to get some light, and then we'll have some lateral growth as well, because this really isn't desirable if you're at a garden center. You'll notice in comparison, the plants that are growing on the edge of the bench, where there is light coming from the front and from the side, they have a better, more rounded, bushier appearance. So this is what we have to attempt to do in the greenhouse here. You can see these New Guinea impatiens or these New Guinea hybrids that certain cultivars are just starting to open. Some have been open for some time now. Others are still in the vegetative stage. In order to sell these plants, you have to have bloom on them. So a cultivar that will bloom earlier probably would be desirable, because that means it doesn't need to be on the greenhouse bench quite as long. And ideally within a series of New Guinea impatiens or New Guinea hybrids, you're going to want everything within that series to bloom at a similar time. And that's ideal in an ideal world. But in reality, certain colors maybe have a tendency to bloom slightly different times than others. It's always exciting to see how these plants perform in the greenhouse. Get to see the bloom and get to see their growth habit here under very controlled conditions. But the true test will be in the landscape.